let's talk about best player in the league title.
Okay, well,
I know where you're going. I'm gonna ask you here, unbiased opinion.
I still think it's Jokic.
So,
Okay.
I think right now it's Jokic, but I also think this year is probably the first year in a while where I think it's up for grabs.
I think the gap between Jokic and number 2, who is probably Luka, is like the same gap it is from like Luka to like
Well, okay, so
Jason Tatum.
Okay, but let me run this then. So let's say, everything plays out similar to last year, and let's say again we see Jokic Nuggets lose in like say first, second round.
Second round, yeah.
Okay, second round. And we see Luka again go on a tear, wins an MVP, gets to the finals again, loses in the finals in like 6, whatever.
Yeah.
5, 6. I think then, obviously Jokic will have the championship, but I think we'll have seen 2 years of Luka in the finals playing, and obviously I think he would also have to have a great finals.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was coming in or going into the finals last year. I thought he had the chance to kind of like not take it from Jokic, but like be holding on to it with him. If he, let's say Luka in those finals, right? Like say they lose in 5, but he averages like 32 and 10.
32. You can say 32, 11, and 10.
Yeah,
on like great shooting.
Yeah, like I said, I think Jokic still is holding it, but Luka's like got a hand on it. Like, hey,
I don't think he's on. I think it's like just like it'll still be like here. Okay, like he can reach him. But
yeah,
like,
but I think so. I think that's where I think so. 2 situations can happen where I think Jokic does not keep on to that title, and it's what I just said with Luka. We see him go on another tear, gets to the finals, and we see again Jokic out in earlier in the playoffs. The only other guy, and I can't see it happening with how they started, but Giannis.
No, God, no.
Well, again, let me say they figure it out, and if they can beat Boston, obviously everything would have to be clicking, right?
Yeah.
For them to
like
be able
everything's
to beat
going. Yeah, no, I get it.
And so I think if everything is clicking like that for Milwaukee, where they beat Boston, I could see them winning a title. Now, Giannis wins another title. And obviously, for them to do that, he's got to be in the MVP race.
Yeah, he's probably winning the MVP.
So I think up until probably 2 years ago, so after Denver's first title.
Are you talking about Jokic being the best player in the league?
Yeah, I thought it was Jokic and Giannis were like co-best player in the leagues because you have Jokic obviously way more skilled, like we talked about.
Yeah.
But Giannis is also like I hate when people are like, oh, he can't be the best player in the league because like
no bag.
But I'm like that's crazy because then what you're saying is Shaq could never have been the best player in the league.
Well, I think I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So I think before Jokic kind of really just took over as like best guy, I think it was like, okay, is Giannis, Jokic? I don't think there was a wrong answer there. I think it was like you could have made a case for either when like their resumes were pretty. I mean, their resumes are still pretty identical.
But my argument, like the problem with all these arguments is like Giannis, like, oh, he went to the finals, he won the finals. Okay, like he had Chris Middleton. Middleton was like their closer.
I could say the same thing for Murray though.
No, Jokic would always. I mean, now they went 2-man and Murray would hit shots.
Yeah,
but Jokic was the guy with who was in control still.
Yeah, no, they'd run that 2-man up top. Murray and Jokic. But again, it's just Murray hitting big shots. I think, again, I'm not saying Murray is on the level of Middleton. I think Middleton in like
when they were winning back in the day.
When they were winning, Middleton was a better player. I don't think it was like a crazy gap, but I think he was better.
I think it was a pretty big gap. Jamal,
but like playoffs though too.
I get you. Jamal has been unreal in the playoffs.
Yeah.
He had 2 playoffs where he was unreal. Like that's it.
Yeah.
He had 2, and one was in the bubble, which players kind of played a little out of their mind in the bubble, which, whatever. I mean, him and Donovan Mitchell had like the most insane series I've ever seen.
That was one of the craziest.
And then the one they won, like he was bad the first series.
Yeah,
they played the round 1. He was awful, and then round 2, which I believe was against the Suns.
Yeah.
Or was it? Did we go Lakers Suns?
No, that the first year, the title year, you guys got the Lakers in the conference finals.
Yeah. So okay, yeah. So it was Suns then Lakers. Like he became unreal, like kind of in that Sun series, like really good.
Yeah,
in the
and
Sun
then he was
series.
just
and then he was
ridiculous the rest
unreal.
of the
And
way.
then the finals, he actually wasn't that good. He had like 2
Yeah.
games.
Yeah, the
But-
finals is tough because you have a couple good games. Like that's half. That's half the
I
games.
get it. But like Jokic has been consistent for
No, absolutely.
5 years, 6. I mean, however long since they've made that first playoff run, like
Yeah,
they finally made the playoffs. He's been unreal in every playoffs.
that basically said, like bubble
and-
on.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
He's been unreal, and then like he's still doing this with guys who aren't like good players, and that's why like I argue with like, oh well, if Luka goes, I mean Luka has Kyrie.
He does have Kyrie. Yep.
And I'll even throw Clay in there. I think Clay's kind of done, and I feel bad because I love that guy. But
Yeah, I think he's what they need. They need a shooter.
but like this is crazy to say. Like there's especially regular season. Like there's times I'd probably rather Clay with how bad Jamal is.
Yeah, right now. I mean, well, it's just totally different. Totally
It's a
different.
totally
It's
different
hard
player,
to say.
but,
Yeah, but
like,
I get what you're saying.
In
though.
the playoffs, like there's moments in the Wolves series. It was like you couldn't rely. Jokic literally couldn't rely on anybody.
Yeah, I think the Wolves are just a bad matchup for Jamal, though. Also,
Yeah, you want to talk about a bad matchup for Jamal? Jokic had Cat on him and Rudy Gobert right behind him. And then it was like, oh, we're gonna sub. We're gonna bring another 7-footer to guard you and another 7-footer behind.
yeah.
And like Jamal's like, oh, I gotta dribble up against Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Yeah, but great defender.
He's a good defender. Yeah, that's fine.
But
like,
that's why I think like that was a tough series for him because that like last year the T Wolves they had so many great defenders at guard. Like Conley's still a solid defender. Then you got Ant, who is
and I get that.
Yeah.
But you want to go to the series before? He
no.
hits the shots against the Lakers. He was bad in that.
he was
series.
terrible the whole series except for
He hit
when
2
like
shots.
except for when they needed game time.
Yeah, so like.
Which was wild.
If he's good in those series, they don't even need those shots.
Yeah, no,
'Cause
absolutely.
Jokic is dominating
No,
against your defense player of the year, which look, it's nothing
Yeah.
against Anthony Davis.
No,
And Jokic, or not Jokic.
Jokic
Gobert gets hate because it's like, oh, he got coached by Jokic. I'm like,
everybody
everyone
gets
does.
cooked by Jokic. Yeah, Jokic is just so much bigger than every big now, except like 3 of them.
If honestly,
just-
and I mean this, if you took Kyrie and traded him with Jamal, it was just a 1-for-1 trade. If Jokic didn't make the finals every single year, I think it'd be a failure for Jokic, and I don't think they would miss the finals.
Yeah, I would. The West is just tough, man.
It is tough, but like,
but I get what you're saying.
last year,
I get what you're saying.
they went in. Anthony Edwards at the end of once they beat the Nuggets, he's like, I just can't wait to guard Kyrie, and then he came out and Kyrie killed him,
yeah,
killed all of them,
yeah,
and Jamal couldn't get up past half court,
yeah,
and he was hurt. Don't get me wrong, but he's always hurt.
yeah. He's always a little.
So it's like,
Yeah,
he
No, I
has
get
no. And then MPJ at one point, I'd never seen MPJ do this. He had a 3 straight on 3, and he hit the left side of the backboard. Like those are the guys, and like it happened, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like these are the guys Jokic is relying on. These are
Yeah.
his stars. Next
no, I
to him.
get it.
So if he doesn't make it, I think it's more on Calvin Booth, the GM,
Yeah,
than
it's
it is
tough
on
though because
Jokic
like I mean,
not being the best player in the league.
yeah, but I mean when you talk about from a talent perspective, like MPJ might be like one of the most talented non All Stars.
I mean, he's an unreal. He's one of the best shooters in the league. I would argue he's top 5.
His offensively, he is
Offensively feels aggressive. 'Cause
okay. Well,
first off, I love MPJ. Honestly, I think he's the funniest dude in the world. And as a Nuggets fan, like watching all the stuff he does with the Nuggets, and he always comes out. He has like frosted tips in his hair, things like that. And it's like, what are you doing? But he has like the weakest hands I've ever seen.
Yeah, no. When I say so shooting wise,
Yeah,
like,
no, shoot.
dude can shoot the
There's no contest that he sees.
no, and from all 3 levels.
Yeah.
So like that's what I'm like because you got to remember him coming out of college. The only reason he even fell he was a projected.
back.
Yeah, like coming into high school, they were like, "Oh, this is basically Kevin Durant."
He was the
2.0.
number 1 pick coming
Yeah,
out of high school.
easily.
They're like it's not even close.
Easily.
Yeah.
So like that's where it's like, okay, I granted he hasn't been, insane in the NBA, like
Yeah.
but he's still a guy on any night that can give,
He can go off, but
Yeah.
when you get to the playoffs and they have game plans, and
yeah,
they're-
no, totally different
they're
game.
like the Warriors. Go watch anything. They were into him. They just
Yeah.
never let him get space. And they're
Yeah.
like, we're not helping off of him. We're into him, and he's going to be a non-factor.
Yeah.
And they had good defenders, so he can't dribble. He has like the worst handle. I don't know how that's possible.
When you're that size and all that, you don't know. He never needed a good handle.
Yeah,
probably.
but like you get in the NBA, you develop, and like he obviously always had back injuries, so he couldn't like his summers weren't.
yeah,
him
their
getting
recovery. Yeah, their rehab and recovery.
But like he couldn't dribble, and it was like okay, well now he's just like a spot shooter. He can take his like one dribble sidestep three over a
Yeah.
guy. But once you get to the playoffs, you need more.
Yeah, no, you got to be able to score different ways.
And that's the problem with like it's like if Jamal can't do it, then it's like Jokic is like,
Yeah, it's
I'm
on
gonna
him.
go to the block, I'm gonna bully, I'm gonna take these mid range, and like it's gonna go in, but at some point he's gonna wear down.
Well, that's why like I've always looked at Denver as far as like how they should. If I was a coach against Denver, I would give them the same defensive treatment that like the Pacers back in the day gave Melo. I'd be like, we're not. You are in your guy all day.
Yeah.
Like Jokic can have 70, but that means they're going to have 78 points.
Yeah, and
because I think that's
like
the best way to beat
and
them.
that's how teams have guarded. And like he does go to work. He ends up with like I think it was Game 5 against the Wolves where he has like 50, and he just dominated Gobert, just dominated him. And it's like because Cat was or someone was out. I think it was Cat. Something happened. He was out, and he just dominated them. And they won the game, but it's like he's just doing so much, and these other guys can't create. Jamal can't create. Dude, at one point in that series, Nickeil Alexander-Walker was laughing. Like, it was kind of like the...
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, it was like the...
As he was defending him, like, it was like...
It was like
in his chest.
It was like the meme of Cat and Boogie, where, like, he was just, like, looking at him. He's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
He's laughing at him.
Yeah, I remember that. I think I texted you about that when it happened.
Yeah, it's like, that's... Like, those are the guys that the Nuggets are putting around Jokic. And it's like, all right, you know, no All-Stars, no All-NBA guys, nothing. We're going to just throw him in.
Yeah.
And, like, I love Jamal. He brought us our first championship. I'll love that guy forever for that. But it's like, at some point, like, I need you to stay consistently good, not have stretches where you're sick and then other stretches where you're an average NBA player at best.
Yeah. No, I get you. So, basically, unbiased opinion, you're saying no chance Jokic. No chance he gives it up.
No.
Okay. Yeah, like I said, I think...
I can't believe I went through all that and I forgot the question.
Yeah, no, like I said, I think that it's a possibility, but it's a long shot. Like I said, a lot of things have to happen and fall the right way.
And
like I said, I think it's only two other guys that could even maybe get there.
And going back to it, if Luka, if he went to the finals, beats the Celtics, who everyone is like, they're the best team.
Yeah, I think he probably gets it then. I just can't see him win.
Personally, and this is bias, I guess, but I still don't think he's better than Jokic, but I would say he's like, those are the two guys. It's not even close.
Yeah, no,
I think it would be like those two and then everybody else.
Yeah, I think if he won the title, which I can't say, if he won the title, he gets it. Like, because I think
he'd have to have that series too. If Kyrie was killing it, then it's like, well,
yeah. He'd have to have a monster series. So, but I think because Boston is viewed as like we've talked about it earlier, like they're viewed as like this team where it's like I don't know how they lose.
Yeah,
like they're viewed as a juggernaut. Like, yeah, I think if he does that, then for sure he at least gets the title as like a. It's mine, but we'll see next year. Like, it's still in the air next year.
It's like he gets the title of, like, he just won the championship, he gets the title.
Yeah.
Everyone gets it other than Jason Tatum.
Yeah. Perfect. So then let's go to biggest impact in a new team. I think we both agreed probably Cat.
Yeah.
So we're going to take Cat out of it. So this could also be
like a role player?
No. I mean, I guess it can, yeah. But I'm going to also switch it where if you think that there's a player that's going to get traded, that could be a massive impact on a team.
Well, so are you talking about like a Zach LaVine if he like got traded?
Yeah, like if you're like, I think if Zach LaVine went to the Lakers, like they become this.
God, well, that's not it. But
yeah, no. But I'm saying, so give me one that's already happened. Give me one that if you have one. Because I know this is kind of off cuff.
Yeah.
But if you have one where it's like, I think if this does happen, and it's got to be realistic. Like, don't be like, oh, well, if Embiid went to the Lakers.
Yeah,
like,
no, like something that, like,
something
a guy
that's
who's
realistic.
Into trade rumors,
Yeah.
like that. Well, the one who's already happened outside of Cat, probably, like, I like Paul George. I've always liked Paul George's game.
Yeah.
So, I think that they're going to... Actually, I'm going to take this away. I don't think Paul George. I think they're both, him and Embiid, are just such... bombs in the playoffs that I just don't think it's gonna work out.
They have liabilities.
One guy, and like I kind of just go to role players. I think it's like Caruso.
I think that one's huge. Yeah, no, I like
because when he got it, I literally remember when the trade happened. I was like, I can't believe they just got Caruso for what they got him for. Because like I was like, they're the number one team in the West now. They're like because he's such a winner. He's such a winning player. Defensively, he's shooting.
Everything. He does everything you need done to be a champion.
One that could be traded. I'm gonna look at the teams real quick. because that's
That's all good. So I'll give you mine. I
Yeah.
think I love PG to the Sixers, but I think, like you said, playoff liability. I also just think health liability at this point. Like, he could go down and it wouldn't surprise me. So I'm gonna leave PG up, but I think Clay.
See, I'm so out.
Bro. So I think because all they don't need him to do anything except shoot a three, an open three. You have Kyrie and Luka. All he has to do is park, and I think that was one of the things they were missing. The Mavs last year was like a guy where it's like when Luka kicks the ball out, Kyrie kicks the ball out. Like you're like, okay, that's in.
Yeah.
I think
Wait,
that's
saying you didn't trust Derrick Jones Jr.
I didn't. And look, take nothing away from him. He had a monster playoffs. Like he was great. And like you lose defensively what he was giving you because Clay is just not what he used to be defensively. But I think that's going to be a huge impact from a guy who I think could get traded. And I've been saying this player to this team for years. Ben Simmons to the Warriors.
Well,
But look, because it would have to involve Draymond.
Yeah.
You'd have to get Draymond out.
He'd have to be their Draymond.
I think you basically he's a younger version of Draymond, who is at this point now better defensively if he's not hampered.
This is crazy to say, but I would actually trust Draymond on the court more than Ben Simmons.
Again,
now, like when
I think
before the explosion Ben Simmons had,
no, and that's the thing is like, but that's my point is like I think if you get him in Golden State with Curry, Kerr, like I think that culture there would bring out the best of Ben, and I think, like I said, he does a lot of what Draymond does.
Yeah.
And I think that fit would be great for them.
I mean, I could see that
better than any other move I could see happening.
Yeah. One thing, kind of, like, I mean, I still couldn't really think about it. Brandon Ingram's the guy who's going to get traded. Yeah, he's going to be gone at some point.
I just don't know a team that like.
Dude, what if he went to like the Wolves? Him and Julius Randle, that was their switch. I don't know why
the Pelicans would take Julius Randle back after they let him go.
Picks or something like that, but like
that's the thing is like I couldn't see that. I love the fit as far as Brandon Ingram on the Wolves. Actually, I really do like it. I just can't see how they make it happen.
I don't either. But like it's gonna be Brandon Ingram's the guy who hasn't been traded.
And he's been linked to like I know the Lakers. He's been linked to
like everybody.
Yeah, and I'm just like I don't see him being like a massive impact on the Lakers. There's a reason.
I don't think he goes to the Lakers. I don't think he fits with the Lakers.
No, not at all.
So
he does the same stuff LeBron does at a worse level.
But like if he went to like goes to the Spurs,
I don't think they'll do it just because I think he's a guy who would take the ball out of Wemby's hands.
Yeah,
too many
but like
times
you gotta if you want to start winning, like you trade Harrison Barnes, like something like that.
But get it. I get why you would do it. I just don't. I think the Spurs.
Talk about the awkwardly long guys on the court. You got
God,
Wemby and Brandon Ingram.
The what's it called? Wingspan.
Yeah,
the wingspan on the Spurs would be insane.
So like that's the only guy I could really think of, unless Corey Kispert to the Nuggets. I'm in. I don't know how we get it because our team sucks, but
yeah, I don't know. I'll give you one more who I think he could make an impact if he is moved, and I think he might get moved. Walker Kessler.
He's the one that. Oh, he was the one that I think it was Brandon or D'Angelo Russell was linked to that trade.
Yeah, if the Lakers can get a Walker Kessler, I think that fits really well because I only say that because you brought up the D'Lo thing. I don't know if they'll do it.
I think that's weird. Like, and I saw it and I was like, I think Walker Kessler's good. I don't know. He's young. Why would the Jazz get rid of him? I know you're rebuilding, but he's still young. Unless you get something kind of good, but D'Angelo Russell's not.
No, it's an expiring deal.
Yeah. But the other thing is, like, it's kind of weird. Do you want AD at the 4? You're going to go back to that Dwight Howard thing?
I mean, so obviously
this all against the Nuggets.
Yeah, this all comes down to JJ, right? Like, I don't know what kind of scheme he would like. I don't know if he likes AD at the 5 or the 4. I know AD likes playing the 4.
Yeah, and I know everyone else likes him at the 5.
Yeah, I love him at the 5 unless we can get somebody like that.
And does Walker start? Does he come off the bench? Because you're Rui, you're starting 5.
So what I
I'm
would
out
do.
On Rui too, but
what I would do is it would be game by game. Like,
well, in the regular season, you're not going to do that. Now, in the playoffs, you will.
In the final, well, I think Kessler is a great pick because if you got to get through the Nuggets,
you want him.
You want him, And so,
But then if you get a small ball team, you're like, well, he's not going to play.
yeah, exactly. So I'm like, it's tough but I think that's kind of just what the NBA has to be now because you have guys like, you have those few guys like a Jokic and Embiid where you're like, we need a true center.
Yeah.
Because I look, I love AD at the center, but I don't even want him banging with Jokic and Embiid. Like, I would rather you not do that.
Yeah.
Like, I give us a center. But I think your lineup would then be LeBron moves to the point again.
So you go LeBron, then you go
LeBron,
Reeves,
Rui, AD,
big,
Walker. And then if you have
Huge team.
Walker out,
huge team.
yeah. If you have Walker out, then I think you go LeBron, Reeves, and then you kind of Rui. I think we probably move Rui to the 4.
Go back to your regular lineup,
and then you go with like a Vanderbilt if he's healthy, or like
you don't start.
I'm just gonna give you the names.
I hear you, but
like I don't know.
I would even say like Dalton.
That's what I was gonna say. Dalton. I was gonna say it's either Vanderbilt, Dalton, or Reddish. It depends on if you want. Well, it depends on if you want defense or offense, right? Because you're not gonna get both with any of those 3. If you want offense, you go Dalton. If you want defense, you go Reddish or Vanderbilt. But like I think that would be the lineups.
But I mean, you could start Gabe Vincent. He plays basketball again.
Yeah, I think Vincent's a very niche player as well. Like he's good for like.
I think in that lineup he's fine.
Yeah, he'd be okay. I like him against like a team like I'm gonna say the Nuggets with like where he can defend like a Jamal Murray.
I think that's comical, and I'm out on Jamal, but
no,
last year people were like, oh, we have Gabe Vincent to guard. Like,
yeah,
that's your Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah, no. I'm saying like as far as like that's the kind of player that the other team has to have. Like they can't have a quick guard because Gabe Vincent can't play against quick guards.
No,
and they can't have like a big.
Well, then that's like kind of the problem with like if you start Jared Vanderbilt now, like. That's kind of the problem with that trade, honestly.
Yeah.
Unless you could get like a smaller guard,
like what Schroeder
or
used to
just
be.
Bronny. There you go, 3-and-D point guard.
Look, hey, perfect segue. So, what's your thoughts with the LeBron, Bronny, all that?
I mean, I think it's cool. Like when they first checked in together.
Yeah.
I honestly shout out to JJ. He was like, "We're gonna get this over with." Right away.
No, and I think that was the best way to do it. Like, don't have the media every game like, hey, are we going to get him next game?
Just
like,
get it done.
First game of the year.
Nobody's talking about it now. It was like cool moment. They checked in together. Braun throws the pass to him. Was like, shoot it.
Oh, man, bro, if he would have hit that.
Yeah, but like low key, you're on the bench talking to him already. You couldn't be like, hey, when we go in, I'm throwing you a pass and you're shooting it. Don't be like, shoot it.
Yeah, hey.
But
I feel like it was just a dad moment. Like he might have even said like, I'm gonna find you on the bench, but then he was like, you throw it and you're like, shoot it.
Yeah. So, but like it's cool. Like I'm happy it happened, but there's a part of me that like feels bad for Bronny because he's not an NBA player right now.
So that was going to be my next question to you. When you look at Bronny, because obviously you have like, if you're on Twitter, NBA Twitter ever in the last year, it's like, oh my God, Bronny's, he's stealing an NBA spot from a player, or he's trad. Blah, blah.
That I don't care.
Yeah. So what are you? So I'll give my thoughts on Bronny. But what do you think as far as Bronny from a basketball prospect player?
I think best case scenario is Davion Mitchell.
Okay.
Like kind of scrappy guard, doesn't like
rotation guy
because he's small. That's the problem. Like. If he was 6'4", I'd be like, all right, cool. But he's like 6'1".
Yeah, he's like 6'1.5", I think, without shoes.
And
I think is what they measured him out
that's cool and all. But once you're in the league, like these guys are big now.
Yeah,
and they're
granted 18 years old.
Yeah, so and guys have grown in the league. So if he gets to 6'3.5", 6'4", like that's.
Oh, if he gets to 6'4", I think
but right now looking because I'm not going to project he's going to grow.
Yeah, no, I get you.
So. It's like he's Davion Mitchell, like not really a good shooter, can't really do anything. He's strong defensively, he's scrappy, he plays hard, he stays in front of guys. But like best case scenario without growing, I think is Davion.
Yeah. So I'm similar. I think right now he is not an NBA player. Like I'm not gonna say not.
He's just not. He's not ready.
I think he's perfectly where he's at. He's a two-way guy, right?
Yeah.
Most of his games he's gonna play in the G League.
Yeah.
And they'll have him on the bench on the Lakers, and for those games where they're either up by 40 or down by 40, he'll go in, he'll play the 10 minutes with other two-way players. Like that's perfectly where he should be. I don't think like he's getting like special treatment by being there. But projected out, and I think what I'll say is I think offensively is like the struggle, right? Because if he
Yeah.
even gets somewhat decent of a 3-point shot, if he can shoot 35%,
higher. He'd have to be a 40%.
okay, 40% from three, I think that turns him into a rotation guy.
I mean, even that you're too
like
small.
a lower end rotation,
like a ninth man. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and the only reason I say it is because I think defensively he's a lot better than like a lot of people look at. And the only reason I say it is because but that T-Wolves, that first game he played with against the T-Wolves, he got matched up on Ant. And I'm like, we've seen what Ant's been doing.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, held his own defensively.
I
like, stayed in front, like, played good defense.
And there's, he's a young kid. First off, no rookie comes into the league and is good defensively. No. That's, like, a well-known thing.
Yeah,
so,
but I also think...
Like, his on-ball things, keeping the guy in front of him, I think he's good. He's going to get bigger, like, stronger. So, right now, you can't really even call him anything. But he's a second-round pick. How many of those guys come in and they're sick? No. Jokic was a second-round pick. He didn't come in and he was an end-of-bench guy. Yeah. He thought he was going back to Europe.
Yeah, so, and no, I agree. I think high-end, if he can get his three-point shot, if he's what I think he can be defensively, I think he reminds me of almost like, I don't think he's as good as this player because this player is also offensively way better, but like Schroeder, right? Whereas
like a scrap. Well, Schroeder, when he first came in the league, he was like, worked hard defensively. He was a better passer. He was a point guard.
Yeah, he was a point guard who could and obviously better at like getting into the hole. Yeah. I think if Bronny develops that shot, I think he could be a valuable piece for a team just because one, if you finding a good defensive guard in the league isn't easy to do.
Well, if he can shoot, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If he can shoot.
Because like Davion Mitchell, that's what he is. He's a really good defensive guard.
Yeah.
He'll pester you all the way up the court, make you work hard.
And he's a rotation guy. Like he gets his
he's like a ninth guy.
Yeah, the last few years, I would say he probably averages 12 minutes a game.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, like rotation guy.
Yeah.
Like I think he's in their playoff rotation, like the last guy off their playoff rotation. So I don't know, we could fact check that. But anyways, yeah, that's kind of where I see him.
But like right now, he's a G League guy. Yes, yeah. And I don't think he's going to be an NBA guy for 2 years. And if he doesn't develop the shot, I think he's out.
Yeah, I don't know if he'll ever be out. This is where I think
LeBron's not going to be in.
I think this is where having like LeBron as your father also will help you. Like I don't think he'll ever be out, but I could see him being a two-way guy or 10th guy. For if he doesn't develop a shot, like he just
he just never develops and he doesn't grow, he's not going to be an NBA guy.
Not a consistent NBA guy. Yeah.
But I did think it was cool that shot he hit in Cleveland. Oh, and like the whole crowd exploded for him.
Low key, not an easy shot.
No, he doesn't take a ton of easy shots. His offensive game needs some work. But
yeah, no, I like that. Like you said, I like that they got it out of the way at the start, and I also like that it wasn't like. I think like when he came in was perfect because I was almost like. I thought maybe like give him that, like start him, let him start the game. It's all fun.
Yeah.
First dead ball, he's out. That way it's just
for his first game.
Yeah, for the first game.
See, I thought that too, and then I was like, this was way better because you had them check in together.
The only thing is like it was tough because I'm like, if you do it in the game, like what happens if he gets out there and like boom 10-0 run for T-Wolves? Yeah, and it's like oh man.
But I think that's why he made sure. LeBron's also coming in with him, so LeBron's not going to let that happen.
Yeah, so I think, but that's why I was saying start the game with it in first dead ball because then you get the whole fun thing, and then it's like okay, perfect. We got 46 minutes to play this game now. But no, I think they did it perfect. Love that he did that. Love that he got to play in Cleveland in front of hometown.
And he makes his first.
And he makes his first bucket on that court. He got the net afterwards.
Yeah, I saw that.
They gave him the net. That's dope. But yeah, so had to touch on that. And then lastly, I'm gonna skip over the rest. Mainly because I feel like whatever about Cooper Fleck.
We gotta talk about the Nuggets.
No. Okay. Wait, we gotta talk about what?
The Nuggets.
We've talked about
we've talked about Jokic.
Okay.
I haven't gone into my Russell Westbrook thing.
Okay, so give me a quick Nuggets outlook. We got it. We're coming up on time.
Calvin Booth sucks.
Okay.
I hate him as a GM. He can make some moves.
Okay.
Look, first off, we're going to talk about Russell Westbrook real quick.
Yep, okay.
Because we talked on the phone, and you were like, it was LeBron's fault Russ sucked. That's not true. I thought Russ sucked since...
Yeah, no, that was just the NBA Twitter stuff.
The year Kevin Durant, that year that they lost to the Warriors, I've been out on Russell Westbrook.
I know.
Now, I always made the joke that LeBron wanted Russ. That's why they traded KCP and Kuzma, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, like, that was LeBron's fault.
So here's where I'm
Make
gonna
it
push
quick
back
because I got to get back
yeah.
to him with the Nuggets.
So now I do believe LeBron wanted Russ.
So did Jokic, so it happened.
Yeah, no, look, hey, for NBA players love Russ.
Yeah, they do.
And I mean, I get it. He plays hard.
He's fiery.
Yeah, I get it. I get why you would like to play with him, but I'm like also like
he sucks.
The thing with the Lakers that was wild is like you played him in the playoffs last year and clearly like game planned for him to be like we need to make sure he shoots.
Yeah.
Like and then he lost them the series and then you were like, you know what we should do? We should go get him. Like doesn't make sense to me. But where I pushed back because everybody was talking about LeBron wanted Russ, and yes, he wanted Russ, but you know who else wanted Russ? The Lakers front office.
I think that started from. And I think it's honestly the same thing with Jokic and Russ.
Well, and this is why I'm going to say it. If you look, because everybody likes to talk about, LeBron's a GM. Well, let's look at what LeBron wanted since he's been to LA. He wanted Ty Lue. Lakers didn't give him that. He wanted DeRozan. Lakers didn't give him that. He wanted who else did? Yeah, I'm not saying it was. I'm not saying. Look, all I'm saying there's been multiple instances. There's another one that I forget. But there's been
Levine?
No, I don't think he's ever come out like really wanting Levine. But there's been multiple times where LeBron is like, "Hey, I want you to do this." Like he's asked for them to go make a trade. They don't do it. Like the Lakers have shown that they have no problem not getting LeBron what he wants. The Ty Lue thing still shocks me because I'm like, Ty Lue had proven to be a good coach.
Yeah.
All that, and they were like,
but you got Darvin Ham.
No. And since then, this is their third coach on the Lakers?
Well, Vogel was good. He should have never
I agree Vogel should have stayed. But like
he got fired because they got Russell Westbrook.
Because he wouldn't move Russ to the bench, they fired him, and then the next coach came and was like, I'm gonna move Russ to the bench. And they were like, well, whatever. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. But that's what I mean is like, yes, the Russell Westbrook thing, LeBron does get part of it because LeBron, I guarantee, he's come out and said he wanted it. And I guarantee you they run any move by LeBron, just like any team does with their best player. But again, the Lakers, LeBron had come out saying, hey, I want this, I want this, I want this. And the Lakers have had no problem saying no. I think the Lakers...
Well, I think they wanted Russ too.
The Lakers want big splash news. You know who the
He's
Lakers
from
are?
LA.
You know who the Lakers are? They're the Cowboys.
Yeah.
They're the Cowboys. They want headlines. They want this.
And lose.
Yeah. And they...
Sorry.
Well, no, that's for real. Because... And then I think it also... I know you don't like the guy I'm going to...
Sirianni?
No. The guy I'm going to reference here as far as sports are. Nick Wright brings it up. But this is where I think he's right. The Lakers, if they can lay something at LeBron's feet, like, yeah, LeBron wanted this, they will absolutely... If they have the option to do that, they will make... I think they do things where they're like, hey, we want this too, but like, we can also, if it doesn't work, like, we can blame LeBron.
But I think, once again, and like the Nuggets are obviously the lesser version of this. They're not the Lakers. They're not going to be in the news. But like, I think Calvin Booth, who's the Nuggets GM, I think he could be like, I mean, Jokic wanted him, so we got him.
Yeah.
And like, cool. But like, Saric sucks.
Yeah.
Saric was out of the Warriors rotation last year when they weren't good.
Yep.
So like, it's like, all right, we signed these guys. We signed Zeke Naji to like a 4-year, $32 million deal.
That's a good one.
He's on our bench. And I'm like, well, maybe Malone doesn't like him because I know he doesn't, because every time you watch it, he never rebounds. His shot became kind of broken. I'm like, all right, cool. Let's make some like, so now our bench is Russell Westbrook, Julian Strawther, Peyton Watson, and Saric. So you have Julian Strawther, who's young. And like, I like Julian Strawther. You can shoot, kind of does a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
The other guys can't shoot.
No.
What are you going to put Russell Westbrook, Saric, who shoots like 34% from three, and then Peyton Watson, who's young? I like Peyton Watson.
I think he's a good prospect, but offensively, he's.
But like this, these are the guys you're putting around. It's like, oh, Jokic is padding is plus minus because what? Like, look at who they're putting out there. Like they're putting three guys who can't shoot.
Okay, so
it's the NBA.
So then, you've said what's wrong with them. What do they need to do?
And I hate to say this, I really do. I'm so sad. They need to trade Peyton Watson. They need to trade Peyton Watson and like Zeke Naji and get, this is why I said like Corey Kispert, something like that. Throw in a pick, not the first round pick, but just get someone who can shoot. Get The point guard for the Bulls. I don't remember it. Ao.
Kobe White.
No,
No.
Ao.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know how to say his
Yeah, I
last
don't know.
name.
Yeah, I know. What you're talking about.
Desanmu or something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Like those, get someone like that. Get guys who can kind of run the team. I don't hate Russ in the 10 minutes a game. We have Hunter Tyson playing now. Honestly, most people probably don't even know who he is. He's like a 6'8" white guy, plays super hard, actually fairly athletic, which is weird because nobody expects it. He's kind of like Christian Brown is.
Yeah.
But like he can shoot, so I'm like, play him. He's tall and he can shoot. Like, just you can't have Russell Westbrook, and I think that's why he's been so bad. And by so bad, I mean literally the worst field goal percentage to start a year like ever. I'm pretty sure for like as many attempts as he's taken.
Yeah, I think he beat his own number on that one.
But I'm like, it's like, yes, he sucks, and he forces so much, so much, and it's like just a clogged lane because like, oh cool, Russell Westbrook, we're gonna play 15 feet off of you, and then you got Peyton Watson in the corner, so we're just gonna be in full help.
Yeah, no, they're playing a zone defense.
And he's like, oh, cool.
Yeah, at the block.
Kick, turnover. I'm like, all right. So that was my Nuggets outlook that I hate. I mean, the starters I think are sick. They have to get 2 shooters. And if Hunter Tyson's one, that's fine. But like a Kispert, just someone
I think
who can shoot.
It's tough because like it's the same thing with the Lakers. I'll go kind of into the Lakers outlook with this. But I think they're missing the same thing. Like, I think I like the pieces they have. I like the way like JJ's like got the offense flowing. But the thing that is like I think they need to move D'Lo. And I know, look, because we talked about the names they've been going after. I think they need to be like, hey, we're not going to get a big name.
Yeah.
And they need to bring in somebody who can just knock down shooter.
Yeah.
Because that's what they need. Like
a
they
shooter
need shooting.
and obviously,
and so the whole league needs shooting.
Everyone needs shooting.
That's the problem.
Like a 3 and D guy. Everybody needs.
Yeah, they're the most valuable thing in the league right now.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. Okay, so then let's go. I want to talk about just the NBA as a whole. Because, right now the big thing is, oh, man, look, ratings are down. Celtics are shooting 61 threes. So, like, what's your thoughts on just the NBA?
I mean, I think it's...
Before you go real quick, sorry. I also wanted to point out, I feel like the start of this season was one of the most anticlimactic starts to an NBA year I could ever remember.
Like, you're talking about, like, how teams are playing, what teams are playing?
Well, no, just like I feel like most people like I knew when NBA opening night was, but I feel like even like people who like basketball, if you were like, hey man, did you know NBA opening night tonight? They're like, oh my god, really?
Actually, funny enough, at work I had like 2 caddies come up to me like, did the NBA start? I'm like, yeah, it started like.
That's what I'm saying. Like usually, like NBA opening nights, like it's big.
Yeah.
Like everyone knows, and I feel like this year was kind of like
it just kind of like just went into it. It's like
exactly. And so I'll give my thoughts on that, but kind of give me your thoughts on that, and then give me your thoughts on the NBA.
I think a lot of it. I think they do need to change something. I think the threes thing is getting a little out of hand. So like I think the biggest problem with the NBA is everyone plays the same.
Okay.
So it's like, I mean, everyone's just running high 2-man, like just pick and roll. Your best player, your best guard, your best big 2-man, and just like attack, lob, kick, 3, done. Like that's, and everyone, like some teams play faster, some teams play slower, but their offense is always the same.
Yeah.
I think that's a problem. That's why I actually used to love the Nuggets, like watching them 3 years ago, 4 years ago, because they were different. Because it was like Jokic had it, they're running stuff. The Warriors were the same.
They run a lot of off-ball stuff,
like
cuts, pin downs,
split action, things like that. And now it's just like 2-man isolation, 2-man, and it's honestly not that fun. It was fun when it was like you got a couple guys who were doing it, like honestly back in like Iverson.
Yeah,
like those guys were doing it. It's like, oh man, that's like insane, whatever. But now it's just like they're all so skilled that now it's just like you're just watching the same thing over and it's really who's going to hit the threes. Yeah, you win.
Yeah, I think it's funny because obviously this, like the NBA now is more skilled than it's ever been.
Yeah,
which I think is part of it is where it's like back in the day, like you said, like an Iverson, or we can even go back further where it's like Jordan, where it's like you got these guys where it's like they were so much more skilled than their era that it was like, oh my god, what are we watching?
So you're watching him in isolation, you're like, dude, that guy,
that's insane.
That's different.
But now it's like I'm like every team's got a guy where you're like they're insanely skilled and like great because it means the league is just so great, but also like
the same. It's just the same.
Yeah.
And like and like you're saying, like Jalen Green, like you talk to anybody who's not an NBA fan, you'd be like, oh, you know who Jalen Green is? They're like, no.
clue.
But he's as skilled as
I don't know. He's all over social media because of Dre.
We don't need to talk about that. But like he's on like an average team.
Yeah.
And he's extremely skilled. Don't get me wrong, but it's like, okay.
Yeah.
I would even say like going back to like Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose was like an exciting guy.
Yeah.
And like Ja's exciting, things like that, but it's still the same.
Yeah. So I agree. I think with, it's almost like when the incredible becomes normal, it's no longer incredible, right? Like, so like NBA before you had a very few guys that were incredible.
Yeah.
And so it just made them so much bigger, where now it's like you have so many guys that are incredible that, you still have the guys that are just at another level, right? Like Steph.
Yeah.
LeBron.
Well,
KD.
that's why like Steph brings in the views, and Wemby brought in the views at first. I don't know, like I couldn't tell you what it is now, but because he was so different.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's a 7'5" alien that he makes the tallest guys in the NBA look short.
And then Steph was hitting the shots, and like people hadn't seen people shoot like that. But then even like now, like, and not now really, but like Dame started to do it now.
Yeah,
LaMelo does it, and it's like, okay, well,
yeah,
like,
well, it's
you're not even good at it.
Yeah, and I think there's that. I also think the big thing, as far as from the NBA now, why it's kind of not as, like people don't watch as much. I also think that NBA media
is the worst.
I think there's this, and I'm going to bring this to a Jordan LeBron thing just for like a split second. I think that there's so much trying to make it like we want to keep Jordan as the GOAT, that like NBA media, because it's all like older guys that played back then or covered back then, like their whole thing is like, if you listen to any of them, it's like, oh, the NBA is so bad now.
Yeah.
And so if I'm an older guy who watched them play and I'm hearing all these guys talk about, yeah, the NBA sucks now, like why would I watch it then? Or if I'm a younger person and all I hear about is my dad and all these people on social media talking about, oh, the NBA sucks now, it's like, well, why would I watch it?
Yeah.
So I think like that's part of it. And then I also think, as far as from the opening night thing, I think the Olympics being this summer kind of hurts it.
Yeah, because basketball like never stopped.
Yeah, exactly. Like we went from the Olympics, and then it was like, I swear it was like 2 weeks later was preseason, or like mini camps over.
Yeah.
And so I think there's that part of it. But I just think, again, I think all of it combined has kind of led to what the NBA is now. Like, I still love watching it. Like, I don't mind. I know a lot of people hate threes. Like, you even said you're not a big fan of the threes.
Well, I don't mind it, but like now the Celtics are just taking like 65. Yeah, it's like, dude, okay.
Yeah, like I don't mind it because like
I get it.
Yeah, like I get why an average fan, right, like would be like, oh, I don't like watching this.
Yeah.
Because they're watching like the shot, right? Like
how they're running. Like,
you watch the full game. Like I'm watching people like off ball. I'm watching like what they're doing. So like I don't mind the shots because I'm seeing the full shot clock, right? But I think an average NBA fan is just seeing a bunch of guys shooting threes, which I get.
And like the old people too. Like like they're
used to
dad. Like if he watches, he's like, oh, these guys just all they do is shoot threes. And like that's where it's like, oh, they don't play defense. Like, well, you don't see the fact that like
that's another. Yeah.
First off, you can't stay in front of your guy because these guys are all skilled. And then like help defense and this is things like we could see, but like guys who don't know basketball don't see. Like help defense comes, it's a kick, it's a rotation, it's another kick, and it's like
I tell people all the time. The defense in the NBA right now is incredible.
It's more skill. Yeah, it's just like,
but it's
the offense is just so good.
It goes back to like, and this was a thing back then, like, right? Good offense beats good defense.
Yeah.
The offense is just so skilled now that it's like, you'll never be able to defend at a level that beats offense.
Yeah.
And so
you can make it hard, but if they're hitting, like it doesn't matter.
The athletes are better than they've ever been. They've never been bigger, faster, stronger than they've ever been. The defensive schemes, like that's the thing with the NBA, like basketball too, is like at the end of the day, it really just comes down to can you stay in front of your man?
Yeah.
And if not, like that forces help, which then leads to open shots.
But there's like in basketball is like a harder sport, I feel like, to watch for like a casual person like football.
Absolutely.
Because like really football, like I mean, I don't know football that well. I know what cover 2, cover 3, cover 4.
I have a very basic understanding of football, but I watch it and it's exciting.
But like really, you watch and you're like, oh, he just threw a bomb. Like hopefully this guy catches it. Because first off, you don't have a view of like the defense. You can't see what defense.
Yeah, I'm not watching the all 22.
Yeah, so And like basketball, like for instance, just the Nuggets. Like I hate it when I watch Jokic and like drop. When they're in 2-man, he's in drop. I think it's the worst thing ever because I'm like, he's not athletic enough to like go up with the guy.
Yeah.
He can't. Like I love when he plays at the level of the screen, but an average NBA fan, they're just like, oh, that guy just shot a 3.
Yeah, wide open 3. Yeah,
it's like, well, okay. Obviously, like Jokic.
You got to understand.
Jokic was in drop. That
you got to understand it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that kind of stuff. It's a harder sport to watch, but I do think just and going back to the media thing, I hate, and I've told you this so many times. I hate like 90% of the media guys.
Yeah.
And ESPN, they fired Zach Lowe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Really?
No.
I was like,
I like Zach Lowe.
I think he's great. I think he's like one of the smartest guys. But they fired him, and then it's like Perkins is like their guy. And I'm like, okay, so you want the NBA media to be just the hot take, like, oh, this guy, blah blah blah. Like Zach Lowe was a guy who would talk through the game.
Yeah.
Where now you're bringing in the guy who's just like gonna take shots.
Yeah, I get it from an ESPN standpoint, right? Because like nobody wants to watch like NBA Today or something like that, and like because you got to think like they're appealing to the masses, right?
Yeah. Because
like I think there's a bunch of guys in the media who understand basketball really well. Like and again, I'm gonna say
what time are we at real quick?
I have no idea, but we're coming up.
Yeah.
But Nick Wright, right? Like I think he understands basketball really well. Like very knowledgeable of it and stuff, but it's like at the end of the day, like you're also still a TV show. Like
you gotta be entertaining.
And so what's entertaining? Like, well, we're gonna talk about
But NFL does it. NFL, they have Dan Orlovsky, they have Mina Kimes, they have Ryan Clark, like all these guys. They talk through the game, like what he's seeing, what he's looking at.
Yeah.
And it does great.
Yeah.
But the problem is the NBA guys, first off, the schemes have changed from when the young or the old guys were in the league.
Yeah.
And so all they're just like is like, oh well, they can't hand check, so he's just gonna go by him. And like, I don't care. Tell me scheme stuff.
Yeah. No, I agree. And so we're gonna wrap up with this. What's one thing you're NBA commissioner for one day, and you can change one thing about the league to like make it better? What are you doing?
I'm giving 2. I saw this, and there was 2 things.
Okay.
FIBA rules, just in general.
So, like, taking the ball off the rim?
Taking the ball off the rim.
Are you keeping the same, like the dimensions of the NBA?
Yeah, I'd keep it. Well, I mean, this is kind of... this would go into a third thing. I'd make the 3-point line... The corners, I'd make them the same distance.
That was going to be one of my things,
so,
too. So,
that FIBA rules, and... I don't know if... I guess... I kind of went blank. So FIBA rules, corner threes. There was one more thing I wanted to add, and I just don't remember what it was. I guess hand checking. Like, just making defense easy. Oh, this is actually what it was. Technicals for flopping.
They do that.
No, they don't.
They do that.
Yeah, they do that. No.
I think...
Honestly, like, I think it should be... Well, they took the judgment out of the refs, and they didn't do it in the Olympics. Mm-hmm. Like, the refs had a judgment call.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, if you miss, I think the ref should be taught. It's if you think it's like the James Harden thing, he's hooking the guy's arm and he's going up and getting fouled.
Yeah.
If you think that's what's happening, don't call it. Don't go the other way where you do call it even though you're not sure. Don't call it.
No,
and let them cry because I think that letting those guys get away with things like that, like they're already so skilled.
Yeah, giving the offensive player the advantage is tough.
Yeah, so like just give the defensive player like and refs could go back and they're at halftime, they watch film too, so they can see it.
Yeah,
and it's like, all right, well, I got that wrong, I got that right, but just give the defensive player more of a chance.
So so I like the ideas. I like the FIBA rules. It wasn't going to be one of mine, but I do like that. I think it adds more to the game. The corner three was going to be one of mine. I think they should widen the court.
Yeah,
and so it's a literal arch. But with the flopping thing, the only thing that I don't like it because we saw it last year in the preseason and all that when they were like, oh, we're going to start calling technicals on flops, is what's a flop?
Yeah. But give them the judgment. Give the refs the judgment.
Yeah, it's tough because it's like, well, that's what I don't like is like, especially because technicals, it's like, dude, 2 technicals and you're out.
Yeah. And maybe it's not even like a technical.
It's a separate technical.
Almost like a defensive 3 seconds technical.
Yeah. Because that's my thing is I'm just like you because you saw it in the preseason and I hated it is where it's like, okay, the guy gets hit and he exaggerates the
Yeah.
contact, and they're like, "Well, that's a flop." And I'm like, "Says who?"
Yeah,
Like
well,
there was contact.
there was but that's where I'm like, that's making a judgment.
Yeah. So I don't like that.
It's like
I
a
don't,
soccer red
Yeah.
card and yellow card.
Yeah, I'm not a super fan of that. So what I'll say, I already said I would do the 3, and I'm not going to take credit for this. I saw this from somebody else, but I think a way to help the NBA as far as viewers and all that, and I don't think it'll ever happen because it totally screws with the record books.
Yeah.
Dunks are worth 3 points.
I saw someone talk about that too. That's weird.
Dunks are worth 3 points. Somebody who I watch, one of the guys I watch, took it from somebody else, and I was like, "That's incredible." Like I said, it'll never happen.
Yeah, no,
But
but
you got to think, because like that's the thing, right? Like right now, 3 points, you get a 50% premium.
yeah.
On
Well,
2.
that's why threes are.
That's
so
why
important.
threes are. Yeah, that's why you have the Celtics
Yeah.
shooting 65 threes, because it's just such a better shot. Like, but if you make dunks threes, it incentivizes guys
to attack and
to
dunk.
attack, and it's got to be a dunk. Layups are 2 still.
Well, now you're gonna have like that Blake Griffin stuff where you like threw it down and
Nope.
finger touched.
No,
it.
it's got to be a dunk.
That your hands are on the rim.
Yeah.
The
I
other thing about the
think it would
FIBA
bring-
rules is there's no 3 seconds, defensive 3 seconds.
Oh, see, and I don't like that.
I mean, there's levels to it, but
But
you gotta. I
yeah.
don't know which one it is, but you gotta help the defense some way.
No, I get that. I think no defensive 3 seconds would entice more threes.
I agree. That's the problem with it.
Yeah, but the dunking thing I think would be crazy, because then like you would get like back to the like old days of like dudes are trying to dunk on people.
Yeah.
Like, so I think
That's going to cause the problem with that is that'll cause injuries.
It will, but again,
It'll be exciting.
And that's why it's tough. Is like from an NBA perspective, right? Because all sports you want player
But
safety.
you know what else that's going to do is that's going to take away smaller guys, like a Jeff Teague. I don't know how many times I saw Jeff Teague dunk
If
but
you're-
like older.
No, I
'cause
get
now-
it. If you're good enough, you'll be in the league.
Yeah, no,
It's,
I hear you,
I'm because I thought the same thing when we see like these guys like, LeBron, KD, Wembanyama. I'm like, it's eventually, because my thoughts have always been like, as obviously I'm a 5'9.5" guy who played basketball. Like I always looked at it as like eventually like somebody my size will never be in the NBA.
Yeah,
Because it's just you're getting these guys who are just bigger
yeah, you're not going
and
to
have the exact same skill set as I would have.
I couldn't even tell you who the shortest guy in the NBA is right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure, but that's the thing. I think eventually it's gonna get to a point where the league is just 6'5" and up.
Yeah.
Like I think that's inevitable, like because of just
I mean, you're
Yeah.
6'5" and athletic.
evolution.
Yeah, you're tall.
It's an evolution, modern medicine, all that. Like it's just what it is. So, but I think that would just drive it would drive up the excitement in the NBA. And again, it's like you got to, as a league, it sucks. You have to make the balance of like, okay,
Yeah.
where do we draw the line of player safety and ratings?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the NBA, it's an entertainment product still.
But you want to know one rule I keep seeing, and like NBA players even talked about it now, the 4-point line. I'm so out.
I hate it. Yeah,
I think that is the dumbest thing in the world. Like,
yeah, it's just no. I'm not.
you got to change the court and we're just have people launching from
I'm like, you think it's
38
bad
feet?
now?
yeah. Like, what are we? I think that's the dumbest thing. in the
Yeah,
world.
no, I don't. I think that would. I think that would drive down ratings.
Yeah.
more.
I think, but I do think the NBA messes up by like we want more points, more points, more points. I don't think people want that,
I think, it's-
especially at the free throw line. You definitely don't want it at the free throw
not
line.
at the free throw line. Well, and it's like everybody points to the Olympics as far as like, oh, well, like when you look at the Olympics, they let them play more defense, blah blah,
Yeah.
and ratings are high. And I'm like, yeah, but we get the Olympics once every 4 years, and it's the best players.
I get that,
Like,
but but the FIBA they are more physical and that.
no, they are, and I'm okay with that. I'm
Yeah.
okay with letting them be more physical, but also it's just I don't think you're ever gonna like. People are like, oh, the games were so much better when it was 88-90.
No,
And
I
it's like,
disagree. Especially like that
You'll never have that again.
That 2006 where you go watch those games.
they're
Dude,
ugly.
It's like people are like
It's
just-
ugly to watch.
the paint is like this.
Yeah, the paint is 8 people.
Yeah, and it's like ew.
Yeah,
like
no,
you're
it's-
taking like hard mid ranges. I'm like, that's not.
no, that's not fun to watch. So yeah, I think that's what I'm saying. I'm like, I like the idea of extending the corner 3 out because I think that helps a lot.
Well, because that's going to make it harder, and like teams aren't going to just shoot 80 corner
Corner
threes.
Yeah. And then the dunking being 3 points, like I said, that it'd be insane, but it'll never happen. Also,
No,
something I heard was
absolutely not.
changing the scoring from instead of 3-2, 4-3. Because then you instead of getting a 50% premium on a 3, you only get a 30%, 33% premium
God, but that
on the
talk
3.
about scoring being high.
Oh, the scoring would be high. Obviously, it would just it would change everything.
Yeah.
Again, totally screw with the record books.
Yeah.
But I mean, that would also
That'll never happen either.
No, but that would be another way where it's like you could discourage so many threes.
Yeah.
But
my thing though, that just help the defense out. I think that's what a lot of people want.
Yeah, I get that. Any last thoughts? Other than help the defense out?
Nuggets are losing right now. So. To the Raptors. I'm so over it. Oh, God.
All right. Well, hey, appreciate y'all. Make sure to like, subscribe, follow us on YouTube, Spotify podcast, Apple Podcast, man, and appreciate y'all.
Dude, I can't believe the Nuggets are losing.